All right, just want to give you an update on the T-34 build so far, and I'll start with the transmission access hatch right here. I got the metal bolts through there, and I actually had to go in and kind of cut them to length because they were a little bit long, and then gave it a coat of primer paint, and I think those are going to look really good on there. I think that when it gets mounted to that rear plate and it's opened up showing the transmission, that's going to look really nice. The tracks are done and painted. It went super easy. These just clip, you know, just like that. So it's like, it was super easy. I think it took me like 20 minutes to do both sets. So the only drawback with these though is, if you can see right there, an ejector pin mark. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of like, you know, fill that in with some weathering, make it look like a little bit of mud in the tracks so that it won't be as noticeable. Everything else looked okay, not horrible. So yeah, I think we'll just go with it like that. Weather them up, cover up those ejector pin marks, and you only got to cover up, you know, the ones that are going to be seen, right, as this thing is stretched on. So you got, you know what, 10 in the front and 10 in the back probably, that you're going to have to really worry about. So that's the deal with the tracks. The turret, I guess I'll start with the texturing on the outside here. This is just Mr. Surfacer 500 straight out of the bottle and just dabbed on with an old paintbrush to give it some texture. The kit texturing, it was too uniform. Yeah, it was rough looking, but looking at reference photos, it wasn't rough enough. And I think the Mr. Surfacer really kind of gave it more of a texture cast look. Something like the same thing you would do with a 35th scale. But I think I'm going to go back and do a little bit of a second iteration, just because like right back here, you can still kind of see a little bit, and just kind of fill that in a little bit more and just give it a little bit more of a rough texturing. The weld seams I added along here, and looking at lots of reference photos, rushing welding was not anywhere near at the level of finesse that American or the Germans or the British welding was. So I've welded a few things in my time, and I think I could have done a lot better job than what the Russians did. But yeah, even though that was stick welding and everything back in the day, it looked rough, so I made it look rough. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with the second iteration of texturing, and just kind of make it pop a little bit more, and take care of this back area right here. I think that'll be a very good thing to take care of, and that'll be done. As far as the building the interior of this thing, the seats do flip, which is kind of neat. Looking at the top, you basically are just going to see the gun and the gun shields. You can kind of somewhat see the gunner sights right there, and some of his control mechanisms, hand wheels and such. But yeah, other than that, you can just barely make out the, you can't hardly see it, but there it is, the coax machine gun. And when you flip it around this way, you can see more from the bottom. And I was able to get some chipping and weathering done inside there, but you're even going to see even less. But the big thing is this thing doesn't have elevation. It is the elevation you're going to get. And I was dry fitting this. What I figured out was this piece here, this gear right here, the long one, is attached to the gun. This piece, right, with the small round gear right there, that attaches up further inside here to this piece, but what I'm calling the mantlet right here. So when it's glued, and I suggest you highly dry fit this first, depending on where you put this, this piece here, the small gear, is where your elevation is going to be. I'll try to explain this. I thought that if this round piece was more in the middle right here, farther up, that would be level. It's not. What that does is that raises the gun elevation. Right? So then I was like, okay, that's not good. I don't want it sticking straight up in the air like that. So then I had to bring it down. So I'm only got like about on the 5th gear is where I've got this set, and it's pretty level. Because once you go to glue this piece on and have that gun slide into there, it's fixed. At least that's how I saw it in the instructions. And same on the other side, where you'd think this would hinge, but it doesn't. This other side is a lot smaller because you have the coax, whereas this has all the gun elevation parts on this side. So this thing is really, whatever elevation you put it at, if you want it higher, then it's going to be higher. There is no up and down play because of these gears, because they don't rotate. This doesn't rotate. It's molded onto this piece, so this gear does not rotate, so it's stuck. So you're going to be at an elevation that you may not want. So take your time with that, and if you're building this kit, just notice that and be aware of it, and try and get the elevation where you want it. If you want it, you know, maybe just slightly elevated, or maybe even depressed a little bit, or even. It depends on where you put this. I know that sounds a little bit hokey, but I couldn't figure out any other way, because since this part doesn't turn, there's no up and down, there's no elevation, it's fixed. So you just got to take your time with that, dry fit it, and then get it where you want it, and then that's where it's going to be. There's no going back and attempt to change the elevation once this is glued together. So dry fit, and then dry fit again. I still have to take care of a couple little seam lines underneath the bottom here, but overall, that's it. That's the turret. kind of as a neat little thing, I found this piece of foam, and what I like to do is when I'm working on it on other parts of the tank, since the seats and this, they call this a trigger mechanism, I don't know what it is, probably like seems like more like a footrest for the gunner, but you can just fit that right in there and those parts won't get damaged. So yeah, if you find some foam, you'll find like uses for it. And I forgot what came in this. Maybe some electronics my son had ordered, I don't know. But yeah, it's handy. I've used it for a couple builds already. I think that's it for this video. Kind of a short one, which is good. But I just want to give you a quick update on the turret. It's basically done. I just have to mount the hatches, but I'm going to wait on that until I get the hull glued down and some of these other hull fixtures done and get this thing ready for paint. What I did find out through some of my sources and references is that this space, we talked about this earlier, this space right here on the earlier ones, this would have just been filled up with these ammo canisters here. So I think Trumpeter shorted us on having enough of these ammo cans for the turret floor. And I still have yet to find out what piece went right here where those two holes were. I've already filled them right there. Started filling a couple other holes, but yeah, I still don't know what kit part is supposed to go there, because you can kind of see, maybe, let me get it in the light. Not really. But there is, I don't know if you can see that right there. That holds this rode arm right here. So I'm thinking it should be like a little tube thing that covers that. Because if you flip over here on this side, this is the first road wheel station right here. This is the second road wheel station there. And it has like a protective thing covering it. See that right there? Whereas this side doesn't. You can see, gosh, it's so tight in there. But you can see the poly cap and the road arm right there sticking through. So I'm thinking at one point they had probably designed, and it never happened, something to cover that. Just my thought. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the T-34 kit to verify that, but that's what I'm thinking. So yeah, that's what I found out so far. This should be more ammo cans, because this whole floor was nothing but ammo storage. So there you go. We don't have enough of these to cover in that space, which kind of is unfortunate, but it is what it is. This is kind of a quasi out of the box kind of a build anyway, so I'm not going to raid another kit just to put 2 ammo boxes in there that you're not going to be able to see. So that is what it is. But yeah, so hopefully I planned on this for being like a 2-month build. I think I might be a little bit behind schedule, but it's coming along slowly but surely. Still don't know what markings I'm going to go with, but I'm still leaning towards the, I'm still kind of leaning towards the kit decals is what I'm leaning towards. But we'll see when it's all said and done. So anyways, there it is, the build so far right now. It's coming along, and hopefully in about 3 more weeks it should be done. Hopefully. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you get a chance, please leave a comment, give a like, and maybe hopefully subscribe. But thanks.